I've
Yeah.
done that. Spring ahead, fall back, miss it. I've done that. But you know, there are a lot of other things you are losing out on when you do lose that hour of sleep when you maybe advance the clock. And by the way, so many people say daylight savings time. It's singular, daylight saving time. We are talking with Matthew Ewells. He is from the Clayton Sleep Institute, talking about daylight saving time and what we're truly losing. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I understand that bettersleep.org did this study, and this astounded me. Money, lots of it, to the economy. We are losing almost $500 million in losses.
That's correct. What they did was they looked at a couple of previous studies looking at rates of heart attack, accidents in the workplace, and on Monday apparently we tend to surf the internet more than work because we're so sleepy. So they took all of these different figures, looked at it in terms of different metropolitan areas, and estimated close to $500 million nationwide. Here in the St. Louis area alone, it's about $5.3 million.
That's crazy. And as a sleep expert, somebody who knows this field, daylight saving time, spring ahead, fall back, in your professional opinion, should we do without this?
Well, it's an interesting thought. It's more the transition going from what our current sleep schedule is to the change. That first week we have an increase in accidents and decreased productivity. But there's also some studies that show due to increased sunlight time, we actually have decrease in auto accidents throughout the summer.
So it kind of balances each other out?
As long as we get past this first week, and really 1 hour shift should not be a problem.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it an hour? Is it really that big of a deal? Does it mess with us that much?
It should not be. But the problem is we're so sleepy to begin with. We're all not getting enough sleep. And so when we shift it just as little as an hour, it's kind of that straw that breaks the camel's back. It shouldn't be a problem, but because we're at that tipping point anyway, it becomes a problem.
So it's just the first week that we need to get over, and then after that, that's pretty much our recovery time, if you will.
Correct.
Okay, so do you have any tips for us to help us get through this first week?
Sure. The first thing is to be aware of it. And
That.
So thank you very much for making people aware of it. This is the end of National Sleep Awareness Week, and so part of that is to increase the awareness, and now's the time to start adjusting your clock. So if you set your clock and you wake up 15 minutes early tomorrow and Sunday, by Monday, it's not that big of a
That's a great idea. I like that because some people who are chronically late often do that as well. So that's not a bad idea maybe to get us on track for this coming week just to get us over the hump.
Right. The next big tip is to get a lot of sunlight in the morning. Sunlight in the morning advances your body's clock. Sunlight in the evening is going to delay it. So avoid it in the afternoon, but come Sunday, get up, take a walk in the sunlight. It's supposed to be a good weekend for that, right? So that will advance it. In the afternoon, if you're feeling sleepy and tired, things you want to avoid is taking a nap or hitting a cup of coffee and getting some caffeine.
Tough to do.
Because that's just going to delay your sleep later on that night, and instead of making the transition quickly, you're going to extend that out throughout the week.
Okay, we are out of time. We thank you very much for your expertise. Also one of those sunlight lamps as well. I have one of those in my office at home. That kind of helps stimulate.
Daylight saving really originally was meant to save electricity with lighting at homes. Here's the problem. In Detroit on Sunday, people are going to wake up and the sunrise won't occur until 8 o'clock, and they're going to have to turn on lights.
Michael Downing, the author of Spring Forward, says daylight saving time is a boon for retailers.
If you give Americans daylight at the end of the workday, they're more apt to shop on the way home.
But they have less time to drink. In 1997, Ohio University students rioted after clocks were shifted ahead and bars were forced to close an hour early. In Russia, daylight saving time pits President Vladimir Putin against his protege, Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, who abolished it in 2011. At stake are lucrative primetime broadcasts of the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. Russia was first put on daylight saving time by Joseph Stalin in 1928. But
when October came, the Russians forgot to fall back. And it wasn't until 1985 that an AP reporter stumbled onto the fact that the clocks were all wrong in Russia.
Only time will tell when all of this confusion will end. For CBS This Morning, Michelle Miller, New York.